Excellent. The violence. The voting. Let's get right to the violence.
Let's get right to it.
Shoot to kill. See an antifa? Shoot to kill. Come. Done with this bullshit.
That is newly released video taken by a documentary crew of Roger Stone in the days leading up to the 2020 election, clearly calling there for political violence, dispensing with this democracy thing and just moving on to the violence. And so in that way, he was actually ahead of the curve for Republicans by a couple of months. Now, he says, in the follow-up to that, what you saw in the video, I am of course only kidding. We renounce violence completely. We totally renounce violence. The left is the only ones who engage in violence. And that is what he said. No word on if those words were drafted specifically by his lawyer, but he was clearly covering his ass. Anyway, later that day, he did seem to welcome the prospect of clashes with left-wing activists, as he said in that video. As an aide spoke of driving trucks into crowds of racial justice protesters, Stone said, once there's no more election, there's no reason why we can't mix it up. These people are going to get what they've been asking for. And after that, he said, I am of course only kidding. We renounce. I'm kidding, he didn't actually say it the second time. And why would he? What's the point of the fig leaf? We know exactly what he thinks. He's being honest. He finds democracy to be an inconvenient obstacle. He'd like to dispense with it and just move on to meting out deadly violence against those he disagrees with.
Yeah, so look, there are facts and then there are nonsense debates that we have in this country. So we've told you 100 times these guys are not in favor of democracy. Why do we tell you that? Did we tell you that from the beginning when Donald Trump was coming down the escalator? No, I never said that because I didn't know that. In fact, if you had told me on that day, I would have been super surprised. Why is the reality show host against democracy? How weird, right? But they showed in everything they did. They had a plot with fake electors and they were looking to overthrow the democratically chosen president. And it is absolutely, look guys, beyond the clown debates, it's absolutely indisputable. And then you see it over and over again. And they constantly calling for Second Amendment remedies. In fact, that's the thing that Ken Paxton is calling for, the Attorney General in Texas today in another story, right? Hey, if somebody comes to your house, do Second Amendment rights, right? Matt Gaetz calling for it, et cetera. They're constantly calling for violence, violence, violence. Here he is on tape, violence. Those are the facts. And then you'll go online or mainstream media, and then you'll get into debates over whether we should breathe oxygen or not. Like, I know he said to kill them, but what does that really mean? Does it mean to kill them? Yeah, that's exactly what it means, right? He says, let's get rid of the voting, and once we're done with democracy, we just do nonstop violence, proceed to the violence. Yeah, but what is that? But is he kidding? But is he, no, but how about this? No, it's very clear. They're saying it on tape, right? So yeah, these guys, they are looking forward to ending democracy. Roger Stone's a terrible person, but by the way, every democracy has to deal with people like Roger Stone at some point. That's not the question. There's always somebody looking to do violence. There's always somebody who hates democracy and thinks, I don't want black people to be equal to me. I don't want gay people to be equal to me. No, I want to set up either a theocracy or a dictatorship where I rule over you. They don't find that to be controversial at all, okay? So, but I know what our mainstream media does, and it permeates through everything, is we have to normalize everything. It has to be nonpartisan. There's somebody on in the commentary on here, it's on Mediaite actually, some right-wing clown who's arguing today, CNN's hiring this person or promoting them, and she criticized Trump. That's not nonpartisan. No, there is no obligation in truth-telling where you have to say, well, now look, guys, this is true, but remember, ignore it, or let's debate it for no reason because Republicans don't want you to think it's true. And we're perfectly fair, and then we do it to the Democratic Party too. Democratic Party says a lot of absurd things that we tell you is not remotely true, right? But the media has an inclination for a number of reasons that we've discussed before, where they have to kiss the ass of anyone in power at any point.
Yeah.
Roger Stone connected to Donald Trump. No, you never know. I don't know. Let's debate it. No, they're fascist. They're fascist who would end our democracy in a second. I'm not the one who said it. He's the one who said it. There's no reason to debate the goddamn thing. You elect Donald Trump, you are definitely electing a fascist, and they will definitely end democracy.
Yeah, no, I feel the knee-jerk need sometimes, maybe you do too, to like fact check something again, reiterate again what should be abundantly clear. And that's honestly part of how they win, is that we keep having to do this over and over, and all the while they're continuing to win. Yeah, we have a debate about like, is Joe Biden being mean, calling them fascists? Literally like 2 days after he calls them that, they start like pining for the monarchy, and then they follow that up a couple of weeks later by like losing it all over themselves over the fact that Italy is electing a fascist. So again, let's have more debates about whether they're fascists. But anyway, when it comes to Stone, who I will remind you was sentenced to 40 months in prison and was pardoned by Donald Trump. So the cycle of corruption is fairly clear here. So he responded to all these videos coming out saying, I challenge the accuracy and the authenticity of these videos and believe they've been manipulated and selectively edited. I also point out that the filmmakers do not have the legal right to use them. How ironic that Kim Kardashian and I are both subjected to computer manipulated videos on the same day. I don't even know what that, I honestly don't even know what that's a reference to. He says that the videos are deep fakes. Okay, maybe,
Sure.
maybe,
No, not maybe.
or maybe.
Not maybe,
No,
0%
obviously.
chance.
So, but I will
0%
remind you,
chance.
in addition to, as you said, we don't have to debate whether he is in favor of political violence. He's just saying it. Importantly, and please don't miss this, this wasn't a hot mic. This wasn't someone snuck a cell phone in somewhere where he thought he was in private. They had been embedded with him for years, the documentarians. This is what he wanted them to hear. And not just him, remember, one of his comments was responding to an aide of his talking about ramming vehicles into groups of racial justice protesters. So this is the group that they have. If you, like, what do you have to know about the room you're in to be like, oh no, I can talk about killing activists and that's gonna go over really well? That says a lot, not just about you, but about the people you're being surrounded with.
Yeah, so Roger Stone, as John just told you, 40 months in prison. That's what he should have gotten. That's what you would have gotten. But Donald Trump is a literal mob boss. So he's like, oh, I see you caught one of my captains. He was gonna get 40 months in the slammer. Well, I pardon him, okay? Who else you got? I got a bunch of criminals around me. In the old days, presidents would do pardons of people who were wrongfully convicted, and it was just a travesty. Or they had a minor offense like smoking a joint, and they got 40 years in prison, right? No, Trump was like, no, who cares about? Those are not. They didn't donate to me. They didn't try to commit violence on my behalf. No, I don't care about those people at all. No, give me all the criminals. I'm gonna let. He's like Bane out of Batman. He's like, now we release everyone from prison, right? And so all white collar criminals, all political criminals, and
people who broke the law for him.
Yeah,
intimidating witnesses against him, obstructing investigations into him. And then, honestly, the fact that we just moved on from the fact that he pardoned a guy who was doing all of this to cover up for what Trump had done is crazy in its own right.
Yeah, and look, the Democrats are so weak that like I think a lot of people in America think we're having a political debate. Like, oh, they don't like Donald Trump, so they're saying certain things about him. No, the guy ran a fake university, made up. He called it Trump University. It wasn't a university. He would come in. People would come in, and he would scam them of $10,000 to $30,000 because he's a two-bit criminal. Okay, and he had to pay a $25 million fine. He ran a fake charity where he would raise money from good, well-intentioned people and then spend it on paintings of himself. I mean, he is a literal criminal, lifelong criminal. He's a mob boss. And co-conspirators of his have gone to jail over and over again, including Michael Cohen, for the crimes they committed together. But the Democrats were like, so no, the guy, and the media, even worse, he's a criminal. And that's this criminal co-conspirator, Roger Stone, who was pardoned by him. Yeah. I mean, a convicted felon pardoned by Donald Trump. So, and now that criminal, Roger Stone, is threatening to do political violence against their political opponents. Of course, because they're fascist. Just be clear about it.
That's one potential explanation. The other is that over the course of literally decades, many people working for Donald Trump have taken advantage of a good, ethical person and committed a bunch of crimes that financially and politically benefited him, but he was innocent and didn't know anything about it. It could be that.
And by the way, 40% of the country thinks it is that.
Madness.
Total, utter madness.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.